Such an amateur.
You're listening to The Big Drill. And we're live on The Big Drill.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Big Drill. It should be Halloween by the time we release this.
Ooh, spooky.
And that explains the masks we have on.
If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything, jump over onto YouTube because Ghazi looks stupid.
I look beautiful as always in my mask. But we're not doing anything Halloween related. We just thought we'd dress up slightly. What we are going to discuss today, Will, is...
Dun dun dun. Game changers.
The game changers. We've had some people asking us to do a review on it.
Yeah.
So we thought we'll do a quick one.
But it might go off onto like a broader subject, but we'll start by using it as a tool to start the topic of conversation.
Exactly. So my first question to you, Will.
Yeah.
Tell me what you thought.
My thoughts...
Actually, wait. Are you vegan, Will?
No, I'm not vegan.
Okay.
I do eat quite a lot of plants, but I also do eat meat.
Okay.
But I do have a good emphasis on the fact that having a good proportion, i.e. like maybe 80% of what I eat is probably plant-based. Really.
Okay.
I do eat things like jackfruits. I do have like alternative like sausages, for example, like pesto basil sausages, and go through different options and take on different options of plant-based alternatives and enjoy them. So I do have them as part of my diet, but I also do like some steak. Like not very often. Like last night I went out for a meal, went to a really nice steak restaurant, and had a really nice meal and really nice steak, and I enjoyed it. And I do like fish as well, particularly like prawns, salmon, and I also like every now and then a bit of chicken. So, but I mean, to be honest with you, I don't eat a lot of meat, but it is in my diet, and I quite enjoy it being in my diet as well. So, yeah, I mean, Game Changers as a program. What are you asking me?
Yeah.
A program.
What did you think?
What do I think of it?
Yeah. What's your opinions?
My opinion is that it's initially it's on Netflix.
Boom.
So whenever anything's on Netflix, it's mainly there for an entertainment purpose, I believe. And yes, you can take away a decent proportion of information from it, but my God, if Netflix is your only source of information which you're learning from, you've got problems. So and also it says at the beginning, this isn't to substitute any medical advice or professional.
Put the disclaimer out there.
Yeah, they put it out there straight away, which of course they do, because at the end of the day, you can't go off of. I'm finding it so difficult to concentrate with that mask.
I'm just staring into your eyes.
Oh God! But anyway, no, I'm finding it so difficult to concentrate.
That's fine.
Find
the will.
I will. Don't worry. Where there's a will, there's a way. I think that in essence, it's kind of like it sets a good opinion or an angle or an option for you to look at, but it's not something which could be really go off on wholeheartedly. You need to take into consideration other papers, other journals. The biggest issue that I've got with something like that is the fact that it's a program which is essentially looking to promote and present a certain ideology or a certain way of life, however you want to term it, and essentially it's going to cherry pick superb anecdotal testimonials from athletes who have done exceptionally well, hats off to them,
yeah,
and who have You know, after going through X amount of years on meat-based diets or protein-based diets and protein source from meat, have switched to plant-based protein sources and have incurred improvements in performance. That's great.
And continue to thrive.
And that's fantastic, but it is anecdotal testimonials of individuals. Yes, there is science that does back up various changes in moving from meat-based diets to plant-based diets, but again, these are going to be picked to support the point of the program. They're not going to go, oh yeah, we found these 6 reviews, and then also we found there was some other reviews that said it wasn't actually significant to change. They're not going to include that bit. They'll just include the bit that say there are significant positive differences if you change, right?
Yeah, and there was moments in there where you can tell they did do that. For me, I thought it was a nice change of angle.
Right.
Because usually what happens is there's like there was a bit of scare tactics in there, but usually they come in and go, basically, if you don't stop eating meat, you're gonna die. Or they'll show you the slaughterhouses, and they try to guilt you into
the ethical
questioning your morals and ethics.
Right.
And I think that's the wrong way of going about it. I think actually the way they did it was pretty spot on. They were like, here's some amazing athletes that are vegan. And it kind of crushes the idea that you can't do great things.
Yeah.
So I thought from that sort of approach, that was really good. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing athletes that do really well. Would you agree with that? Or do you go, no, that was shit?
I think
it was a bit different.
I like seeing athletes do well. I like seeing people achieve
full stop.
Achieve great things and at the highest of accolades. So it was, fine. But hang on a sec. There's also hundreds and thousands of athletes which have also achieved exceptionally high accolades, and got better and reached different broken different performance plateaus at various ages of their life, and eaten meat. So you can't really. Yes, there are. There's definitely signs of, for example, 3 things that they lent on was endothelial function, chronic inflammation, and oxidative stress. 3 things that they lent on in the
hit him with the words, Will.
Oh, the words. And in these things like the function of the vascularity in the body is improved if you stop eating meat and are on a solely plant-based diet. Well, yeah, there are going to be improvements of that vascularity and the health of that vascularity. Also, inflammation. There is salicylates, I think, in plants, which are basically like nature's anti-inflammatories to a certain degree. I think they're in pineapple as well. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe
that is a plant.
Yeah, well, cheers, mate. But these things are in which is great. But actually, on the flip side of that, they can also be quite dangerous. Some people have really bad reactions if they have too much in their system, right? So it's kind of like, okay, well, now there's this question of maybe it's not about removing meat, maybe it's just moderating. Because these people which maybe eat or in excessive amounts, if you've actually just reduced it to a less of a volume of meats, smaller portions, maybe more infrequently, still in their diet, but would you still get the same significant kind of improvements? Would you still get improvements? Because I think there's always this, moderation. Oh, that's boring, right? You need to be moderate. Not like, oh, you need to switch to this diet. You need to change.
Are you saying that why do you have to go from one extreme to the other?
I mean, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, can you just like moderate? Can you just like make sensible changes? Maybe like your protein powder, instead of it being like whey protein, or can you just do a vegan based protein for your protein?
I do that.
I do that.
Yeah.
Snacks, for example, does your snack have to be like a chicken breast or a tin of tuna, or can it be a plant-based snack? Yeah, quite easily, and actually is really tasty as well. So, you know, my question really is kind of like, is this program peddling a change, an extreme change, which essentially makes and sells and is more of a kind of put in a position of it being not dramatized as much, but you know, you kind of like, it's more appealing, right? No one's going to go, oh, the moderate diet. Oh, well, that's fucking interesting, isn't it? The moderate diet.
Yeah.
That sounds.
I see what you're saying.
That sounds like a winner. Chuck that on Netflix.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to watch that. It's just like, well, actually, it's probably a sensible way to go. Really, moderate what you do.
But then, okay. But then, what if? So you could argue with that with the Game Changers, because they don't really bring the moral aspects into it. Not entirely. It was more to do with performance and how the athletes are thriving, especially the first half. Well, what do you say to the people that do it for the ethical side?
That's up to them.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned,
Basically, yeah.
If you look at something and you go, I don't like that. I don't like the dairy industry. I don't like how it treats, makes, produces, distributes.
Or it's, yeah, okay.
Or the meat industry.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
If you look at that and you go, that shit, I don't like that. I don't want to be a part of that, and I don't want to sit there and be like, you know, what was the kind of conditions that this animal went through, you know, whatever, you know, all the moral and ethical things. If you choose from a moral and ethical point of view, then that's absolutely fine. And I don't think that should. I don't think that you should. That's your question. That's your own freedom of choice, and we're big on freedom of choice, right?
Of course. I agree with you, by the way. Yeah, I think, but it's harder to convince people when you have a belief, and that's why I'm saying the way they approached it was pretty cool. I thought it was a good way, because if you got a belief that animals shouldn't be treated this way, you now got to convince other people that you must now agree with my belief. Mm-hmm. If they don't, well, okay. But when you go, hang on, I can make you improve your health, improve your performance. I thought it was a better angle. I enjoyed that one. I enjoyed the way they presented it. There were a few things I weren't too chuffed about.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by that at all, mate. There were a lot of things that
towards the end they did the little montage, and they were talking about like something about athletes flourishing and whatever on the vegan diet, and they're going through all these different athletes. Yeah. I was like, oh wow, look at all these guys. And then Messi pops up taking a free kick, beautiful free kick by the way, and he scores and he's celebrating.
Standard.
And I went, excuse me, I didn't know Messi was vegan.
Here we go.
So I went on Google.
Of course you did.
Is Messi vegan? And apparently he's taken an approach where he's trying to reduce, increase the amount of plants. He's something along those lines.
He's eating a few more carrots a day.
I don't know, really. It doesn't really.
One less.
I went on his Instagram to check. There was a few cakes here and there. Couldn't prove they were vegan though. So I then went on YouTube. And you know Salt Bay? Yeah?
We did not practice that, by the way.
11 months ago, because that's when it was posted, Messi went to go see Salt Bay. And he did his little routine.
What do you
picked up I don't know, it was beef probably.
Right.
It was definitely a meat.
Yeah, but he wasn't doing it on a beat.
It was a dead animal on the table.
Right.
And he picked up the meat and he popped it in Messi's mouth. And I went, hold on 1 second. I'm not happy about this program doing their little montage
And putting
of all these athletes, and then putting an athlete in there. God knows how many other athletes were in there that weren't vegan. I don't like that. That was misleading. Didn't like that whatsoever.
And also,
so I thought I'd throw that out
I didn't get to this bit, but apparently I stopped watching it. But didn't apparently Lewis?
It was that bad for Will.
It wasn't that bad. I kind of like had better things to be doing. But I joke. I watched most of it. Didn't like Lewis Hamilton walk on and say, "Yeah, I'm now plant-based, and it's going to elongate my career by so many years." At some point,
let's talk as great news for esports players.
What?
That if it does it for Hamilton, it will do it for them as well, because pretty much they're doing the same thing. They just got to concentrate really
hang
hard.
on a second, mate.
I'm just saying they got to both concentrate really hard.
I don't think you can liken an esports.
Why not?
To Lewis Hamilton in Formula 1.
Wait until
drive.
you see the first vegan gamer pro, okay? And they're going to be the best in the world.
They're going to be hugely athletic, right?
Some of the amazing parts were the breaking the record. I forgot his name now. The huge guy with the amazing beard, better than yours.
Well, hang on.
Just saying.
Was it Pat something?
Yeah, he breaks the world record, and he's on a full vegan diet, and he was talking about how he got heavier and stronger since being a vegan. That was cool, and you get to watch it happen.
He was lifting the yoke, wasn't he?
I don't know, whatever it was, he broke the record. Whatever it was, he did it.
Strongman Patrick Baboumian.
Great name as well.
Breaks world record for the most weight ever carried by a human being travelling 10 metres with, there we go, with a 550 kilogram yoke. That's pretty much a horse.
He
carried a horse.
A horse is that heavy? 550 kilos?
Horses are heavy.
Fuck me. Okay.
If you have, basically kind of like, he was vegan, full vegan.
And he was saying he got heavier.
Yeah. He's the strongest man in the world, a vegan. Yeah.
Yes. And then you had the runner who got injured along the way. His quad tore. And I was like, vegans aren't invincible, are they?
He's taken a hit.
he got injured too.
Get down.
But he's still, even with that injury, he still managed to break the world record as well. So that was also impressive. So I think it shows that you can be vegan and still do world-breaking things, which is great.
Oh yeah, of course it is. I mean,
which is great.
Yeah, I mean they've been doing it for years, haven't they? You know, since the 1920s, there's been competitors which have been full vegan, vegetarian, and they've been successful.
Boom! But I mean, world records is something really special, isn't it?
Yeah. So I do want to I've got one of my colleagues that I work with, a guy called Tom Bainbridge, really good lad. Has got he basically made this. He sent a post out, so hence the reason why I've given him a bit of kudos here, because I'm just about to rip a bit of information off his post.
Oh, let's go.
So he basically says, from a scientific point of view, in the film, and it is a film, you've got this kind of like idea that people make this change, but you've also got to say, like, well, what else are they eating? What are they not eating?
What is their activity levels?
What do you think? The meat that how did they achieve any success while they were vegan or before they were vegan? Mm-hmm. So, I think what's very important is that, from that little kind of synopsis of questions, what you got to remember is that you kind of like get this situation where you have what's called confounding variables. Mm-hmm. So something might happen within a particular intervention.
Yep.
So this intervention is this dude goes to a plant-based diet.
Yep.
Carries on training, etc. But what it doesn't consider is that actually there could be other additional changes that are made, and there could be things that have changed in their life. So stress, for example, there could be things that have periodically changed over that period of time that they've gone plant-based, which has also reduced their stress. So they've become, have less oxidative stress. Maybe their training techniques might have changed. They might have adapted, or lived somewhere else. They might have moved, and all these things that they don't necessarily. They don't go into these details, and they don't look at how or why much. There might be new techniques brought in from in order for them to use equipment differently and stuff like that. So, or they might just have matured more. That as they went through the, you know, their kind of like particular time frame that they were training, like maturation of muscle density, or you know, whatever the situation that kind of like acts as a confounding variable, and they just don't talk about those. And I think, like, you know, you have this, you know, you have, like, you know, to my point, from an ethical or moral point of view, that's what you choose, and that's absolutely fine. But, you know, for a lot of you kind of like, a lot of the papers that you look at, there also could be another paper that suggests that it's not the case. So from a scientific point of view, it's very much like a tit for tat type situation.
Okay.
So you can't always be going, well, yeah, this is definitely it. It's not. Yeah, Tom made quite a good point, saying that it's not. You know, it just so happens that your actual, your kind of moral and ethical opinion just also happens to be the best diet for athletic performance. So it's like, is it? I mean, that's because possibly you've got a self-serving bias around that. So again, near these things where it does, I know you liked it in the way it like presented things, and I don't disagree with that, and I like the way that it didn't come in hard with, like, it was still propaganda,
like showing animals being slaughtered.
Yeah, I mean, it was still propaganda. Let's not.
Okay.
It is propaganda, but it's not in your face, slapping a shovel propaganda.
Slapping a carcass.
Or a carcass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is literally, you know, you see that in some cases, don't you? You know.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I thought that was a particularly well-rounded post, and it actually kind of reached out to me a little bit and made me think, well, yeah, I kind of get that, I understand that.
So it's funny you're bringing this up, because I know the fight game. If there's anyone that knows the fight game, I know the fight game. Oh. And there were some fighters in there, and I was like, wow, okay, and I know the ins and outs of fighting.
Were they in the chamber of truth?
Yeah, they have to be.
Of course they do.
That's what they do. They enter it all the time. And I think the first person they mentioned, is it Bryant Jennings or Nate Diaz? It's one of them, but I'm going to go with Bryant Jennings first. He's a heavyweight.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong, let me check my notes.
Notes, Ghazi. You've got some notes.
I've got
this
notes
week.
today. Yes, he's currently 24-4. He went vegan in 2013. He was actually unbeaten at the time he was vegan.
Meat eating.
While he was meat eating.
Yeah.
He then went vegan, and in 2015 he fought Vladimir Klitschko, which, by the way, can I just say, is his highlight of his career.
Big lad.
Losing to someone is his highlight of his career.
Oh.
So it's not too great. Okay, so when they were mentioning how he's a top, hey, don't lie, he's not. Great fighter. I would never mess with him. But to call him one of the top dogs is just a lie. So he loses, and then he loses the following fight against Ortiz. He lost his last two fights, who is Joe Joyce and Oscar Rivas.
Right.
Joe Joyce is a up-and-coming boxer. You're not supposed to be losing to him. Joe Joyce he's getting easy fights to prepare yourself.
Yeah. And he lost.
Joe Joyce beat him. Yeah, it was done on purpose. Like, you prepare, you know, Anthony Joshua does the same. You're starting off.
Yeah,
you
like
get
warm-ups.
Yeah.
Dip your toe in the water.
That's what Jennings is right now. So I don't want you guys to think, oh, and here's the thing, right? Because
my views are not shared with Ghazi's, so just for the record, don't come after me.
So the thing with Jennings is he wasn't all that good. So don't be afraid of. Don't be fooled by it. All right.
Okay.
I also want to say David Haye, which they just basically didn't mention.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why. He's been vegan since 2014.
So fairly recent as well. 2014.
He lost to Klitschko in 2011. Same guy. He's like the vegan crusher right now. He's retired now, thankfully for the vegans. But 2014 he goes vegan. So this is after his loss. So he lost while he was a meat eater. He actually comes back. He stops in 2012. So he actually became vegan after he stopped in 2012. He then comes back in 2016.
Yeah.
He fights 2 journeymen.
And he's been a vegan for a while now.
He's been a vegan for a while now.
So he's let it embed into his...
He's let it... He fought journeymen, two like, I don't know, your local taxi driver or something. And then he fought Tony Bellew.
Was he a train driver?
No, Tony Bellew's actually a very good fighter. He's retired now. And Tony Bellew went up to heavyweight, which wasn't his weight category. And David Haye gets injured. He tears his Achilles or something like that.
Right.
In the middle of the fight, he loses. Fine, okay. Not a great look, because he's all of a sudden, his body's breaking down on him, and it was being discussed that his body's breaking down on him. And they have a rematch, and then Bellew beats him again. And now David Haye is retired. So it wasn't a great...
Go on.
It wasn't a great look for a vegan, and that, I assume that's why they didn't include it in the documentary.
I mean, again, that's something whereby for me, it's like prize picking various...
And you're going to do that because you want to be biased.
Yeah, and that's why, back to my original point, it's propaganda, right? Because actually, from that point of view, you wouldn't pick information to disseminate and distribute in your piece of propaganda if effectively it was going against it. It's just completely counterintuitive. So why would you do that? So, when you think about how they are effectively missing out bits of information that don't kind of...
I squeeze this in really quickly?
Yeah, squeeze in.
So
mate. Go for it.
they mentioned Nate Diaz, and they talk about how Conor McGregor was eating steak.
Oh yeah,
two
times a day.
Yeah, the reason for that,
4 times.
The reason for that is because he was actually supposed to fight at 155 pounds.
Yeah. Okay.
His opponent pulls out, and Nate Diaz, on a short notice, says, "Yeah, I'll fight you, but I can't make 155. I can only fight you at 170." That's the reason Conor McGregor was eating steak all the time. Not because that's just what he does. No, he was cutting originally. And because he was cutting to the point where he was going to reach 155 pounds, all of a sudden he has to reach 170.
Yeah, so he's got more...
So now he needs to put in loads of calories.
But then that's obviously going to make you more... It's going to make you heavier.
Well, so he's never really fought at that weight either.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they fight. Nate Diaz does win. True. And Nate Diaz, great win. All credit to you. What they fail to mention... is they actually have a rematch. Same weight, same everything, only this time they both know that they're fighting each other. They both know the weight, they know.
Yeah, so they're both they've got time to get the right weight, get the right nutrition leading up to wait for that fighter.
Do you know why they didn't mention the second fight?
Well, I do know, but I don't want to steal your thunder.
Well, it's because Conor McGregor wins the fight.
Of course he does.
So they just went, oh yeah, Nate Diaz won this because he's vegan, and then they didn't mention. And me, as a fight fan, I know this information. If I was watching this,
you'd know.
I wasn't a fight fan. So then I'd be like, oh wow, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Because I know the ins and outs of it.
You pretty much discredit that point. That whole montage of Nate and Conor basically doesn't mean it's irrelevant. Yeah. It's cancelled itself out.
In a way, just because of how they did it. Yeah.
So I mean that does kind of make me kind of it just basically kind of puts the point on it being propaganda and it being cherry picking, really. I mean you just keep nailing it, mate. You just keep nailing it. I will say one thing though, right? I'm going back to my confounding variables. I'm so sorry, but okay. It's another point that I find really works is that when you think about actually having a change in your diet to a plant-based diet, if someone says, right, I'm going to go plant-based, they make that decision because of perceived health benefits. Okay, whether they are significant or not, there is a perception that they're going to change their diet, they're going to go more plant-based, okay? So they do that. Now, this would lean to the fact, from a psychological construct point of view, that they are probably more conscientious.
Yeah.
They're probably becoming less impulsive, and they're also so they're making these changes and they're becoming more health seeking, which means they might also do things like decide to get off the bus 2 stops earlier and walk 10 minutes home.
Go to the gym.
Or they might decide to reduce their alcohol intake as well.
Okay.
You know, so when you see a change in someone's diet and it becoming a vegan, vegetarian, or predominantly plant-based diet, whatever point it sits on that spectrum, the chances are that they are probably going to incorporate some other health-seeking behaviours as well, combined with the change in diet. So therefore, to say that the change in diet is the reason why a battery of health indicators have been seen to improve is a little bit of a smoke and mirrors type situation, because actually if you were to look at the other behaviours of that person, they might even start sleeping. They might think, right, I'm going to start getting to bed earlier as well now. So when you think about the whole health wheel, of which nutrition plays a huge part on that wheel, but it's not the only part of the wheel, you've got to take into consideration these things as well, that the other behaviours that they might be adopting that will essentially put them in a better, healthier position on the spectrum of indicators that you use to measure it, whichever ones you choose, right?
So essentially what you're saying is they take the step to become vegan, but that's not the only step they're taking. They're taking other steps to improve their health too. Yeah, because they're moving into more of a conscientious, less impulsive decision-making processes, and they're more reflective over those things that they're doing. So yeah. Awesome. Okay, so that's enough of the game changes itself. I wanted to ask you, have you ever tried going all plant-based? Just for a period of time?
Yes, I think so, but like not really. I just was kind of looking to see what was available for some of my vegan, vegetarian clients, to see what was kind of like trying out various foods that were on offer. And I think I basically maybe done like four shops or something, maybe a month, 4 shops. But if I was out at a restaurant or went to someone's house for a meal, I wasn't like, oh, by the way, I'm vegetarian, vegan at the moment, so you're going to have to accommodate that. That wasn't, I wasn't practicing it like that. I was doing it purely on the basis of kind of getting myself out there and going, okay, right, this is where this is quite tasty, this is good, so I can make suggestions for my clients, but not in a way in which I was practicing.
Okay.
Like,
and did you feel any effects, anything different, just from a personal experience?
Not really. No, I can't say I did. If I didn't. I mean, I probably was eating meat once or twice a week anyway. So I don't know if that would. I mean, not in a particularly large quantity. I don't know if it would take it away or not. But I didn't really feel huge. I mean, a huge amount of difference.
Because a lot of
I've probably a bit more flatulence.
The first thing they tell me is energy levels.
Energy.
So I was just wondering if that had happened to you or not.
Not really. No, I didn't personally feel that. No.
Okay.
What about yourself?
I tried it very briefly.
How briefly? What, a day?
A week.
A week?
A week.
Okay.
A day would have been taking the piss.
Yeah.
Tried it a week many years ago. I got really bad headaches.
Really?
Yeah. Pretty bad. And someone told me it was something to do with the toxins leaving the body. Whether or not that's true, I didn't really look into it. I just said I don't want headaches, to be honest.
It's like the same headaches you get if you stop drinking coffee, right?
Yeah, whatever
it's
it was.
Probably something in line with
and that. From my personal experience, I'm gonna showboat a bit here.
Please do.
Showing off now. I'm not showing off this part, but I basically eat meat every day.
Okay.
Like every day.
Right.
Probably multiple. No, not probably. I do multiple times a day.
So you're a carnivore. But you're not.
Because I have loads of plants too. And I'm probably, no, not again, I'm being too nice. Not probably. I am in the best shape of my life.
There you go.
I also haven't been sick in 3 years. Coming up to 3 years. And when I say I haven't had a cold, flu, no.
Have you had some sort of genetic modification? You're not telling me.
Maybe, but name me a time where I've come in and I was like, fuck, I didn't come in and you're always sneezing around me as well, and you ain't passing on no.
That's a bit harsh, mate.
Just saying, like even when I'm working in the gym. Now, if I was to go vegan,
you would worry. Your immune system would suffer.
No, I wouldn't. But I would be like, it's because I went vegan.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it's not.
Maybe
it's because I made big
like
changes to my life without sacrificing the meat. So it was possible for me, and I'm just talking from personal experience. So I advise people to try out different options and do the research. Do your research very heavily.
I mean, I think that's really what it comes down to. There are obviously moral and ethical standpoints which are well documented, which are obvious, and we live in a society that is excessive by nature.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Yep.
I think that the day-to-day that we see people live and operate is in an excessive nature. I don't think that it would do anyone any harm if everyone reduced their meat intake, if that was something that they wanted to do. I don't think it would affect performance. I don't think it would have, but it would have to be a choice that they would make. You can't just go, you've got to stop eating meat. And also it wouldn't be a particularly economically viable thing to do anyway in an immediate standpoint.
Throwing that point.
So it would, it would actually start to disintegrate the food industry economy that basically is pretty important to have churning over. So, but if you're in a situation where you make that kind of moral decision, then fine. But I'm very much somebody who's, it's not about excess. It's about finding your sweet spot. To your point, explore, find out if you only ate meat 3 times a week. So, 3 days a week you ate meat, and then the rest of the days you didn't. How does that feel? Does that make you feel more energized? Does that, are you feeling your aches and pains are going if you have those, troubles? Are you feeling like you're sleeping better? Are you feeling like your bowel movements better? Going for a poo, does it feel better? And these are things which, I know it sounds a bit kind of like avoiding the kind of question of like, what do you think you should do? But it is like, you should do what is best for you and what feels best for you. And really the only way that you can find that sweet spot is by trial and error.
Yeah.
And that is no one actually has the specific right answer. You are the expert for yourself, and when it comes down to changing your game, so to speak, and like altering what your nutritional intake is, it really is a process of coaching. It really is a process of taking note and reflecting over what changes you have made, and then seeing how they have produced a better or a worse situation for you from a training perspective or from a health perspective. And these things, it takes time to do, and you need to be reflective over it, and you need to take that kind of pause and be aware of the confounding variables. Have I changed anything else in my life that could have also contributed to either this improving or becoming worse from a performance or health related aspect? And if it is, then it might not be nutrition. It might be the fact that you've just started a new job and you're mega stressed and you're not sleeping well. Who knows? In a sense, it's a case of trial and error and finding out what actually works for you.
And I mean, even in the documentary or film, as you would like to call it, Wilkes, he does the battle rope thing.
Yeah.
and he's vegan at this point, and he claimed that he could only do 8 minutes on it before, and 20 minutes was impressive on it. So doing it non-stop.
Yeah.
He did it for 60 minutes, and I was like, okay,
Oh yeah.
that's something.
I was impressed by that.
That's impressive. So it clearly does work for him, and if it does, if that's the effects, and you're feeling good.
I mean, I said that could be a placebo effect, but then you very quickly shot me down. I mean, that's much more than a placebo effect.
I mean, come on, from 8 minutes to 60. I'm going to assume he's telling the truth, because you don't actually see the whole 60 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'm going to assume he's telling the truth.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Game changers.
Yeah, and for me, I was like, okay, I like that. Is it enough to convince me to go full vegan? I'm not there yet. I'm not completely against it, and nor am I for being non-vegan. I'm more for just want the truth, search for the truth.
I just want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Just want to search for the truth, and if being vegan is that truth, that's fine. And I think that's why we, at some point, are gonna have to get a vegan on.
Yeah,
because we're not completely on their side, right? So getting one on as a guest, and we can throw some questions at them, and they can maybe try and change our minds on things.
Well, we've got a guest coming up in a couple of weeks, haven't we? Which we're looking forward to.
Yes.
We're not going to say who it is.
No, it's going to be a surprise.
It's going to be a surprise, like a rabbit out of a hat trick.
Yeah, I'm gonna write him an intro. It's going to be an epic intro. It's going to be.
Are you writing it and I'm reading it?
No, I'm going to say it.
Oh, yeah?
I'm taking my intro.
Okay, well, that's fair enough.
But yeah, no, I think that's pretty much everything. I did think I enjoyed it though. The document, I enjoyed it. I'm going to say I enjoyed it.
I'm going to say
I liked it.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to say I found it had. I just need. Do I need to word my words?
Yes.
Correctly?
Yes.
Do I?
I mean, correctly. What does that mean?
Well, I thought it was a really good film of showing how there was some half decent athletes.
Half decent.
No, okay.
Damn.
No, there was
some broke world records.
I know there was no. Okay, right, fair one. There was some top quality athletes which broke world records and had reached very high accolades within their domains of sport, and I really enjoyed learning and seeing a little bit more about them. I thought that some of the science behind the what the guys brought forward, the scientists brought forward, was correct, obviously, but it was also very one-sided. It didn't really give it, and it was selected, and that's fine. It took what it wanted to, and it found what it wanted to find and presented it how it wanted. Just want to say just one thing about it, right? So. They stated that a peanut butter sandwich has as much protein as...
I saw that part. I was a bit questioning that.
Just hold your horses, mate.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, mate.
I got this, Ghazi. The filmmakers state that a peanut butter sandwich has as much protein as a 3-ounce beef steak, 3 ounces of beef, or 3 large eggs. And that's about 5 tablespoons of peanut butter, coming in at 500 calories, not including the bread. So you're going to have to come in with a fair amount of peanut butter to be able to hit that amount, right? So it's all about relativity. It's a bit of kind of like, well, yeah, you could, in that rationale, say that you could, 400 grams of spinach is the same amount of protein as 3 ounces of beef.
It was unfair for them
to
go...
Or 1.2 kilograms of broccoli. It's just like, well, of course, if you get the right amount of something, it's going to equate to...
What they did wrong and what was unfair was them saying a peanut butter sandwich, but yet they went and gave the exact amount of weight for the beef.
Yep.
And then the exact.
And then just said a peanut.
Eggs,
yeah. And then just said a peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah. That was cheeky. That was cheeky. That was cheeky.
I mean, and you got to think like. It's not necessarily from a high performance point of view. You can see that they've done particularly well, but then the kind of general public look at it and they go, well, I'm going to go vegan because look at these athletes, they've achieved some fantastic accolades. But, you know, you can also think like that guy done the Twinkie diet, didn't he? So he went on the Twinkie and he lost like loads of weight on the Twinkie diet, and which was just like sugar and fat and like, and it was essentially horrendously unhealthy, but it achieved a result, right? And I think what you can kind of, people that might maybe like switch over to becoming vegan thinking it's going to be the pathway to health, optimal health, you still got to think like a lot of, well, oils are vegan, sugar's vegan, and you know the combination of those two things in things that essentially can be very unhealthy, especially in, you know, larger quantities. So, you know, you kind of like, if it's done anything...
Oreos are vegan, by the way.
And they are very nice. I can eat a packet of them bad boys. Now, if you're in a situation where you've watched Game Changers and it's made you want to research a bit more, dig a bit deeper,
that's great.
Do your due diligence, find out, have a bit of explore, chop and change your diet, become a little bit more plant-based, see how it goes, become a bit more plant-based if it goes well, then and you find your health indicators go up, your performance at the gym gets better, abso-fucking-fantastic.
Amazing.
Brilliant. That's so good, and carry on doing it. But if you look at Game Changers and you think, right, now I've seen that, I've got to change everything, and then just go out and blindly go forward without actually doing any kind of research or experiment for yourself, then that's probably more dangerous than it is good for you.
Yeah. Also, I completely forgot about this part, the erection part. I don't know if you saw that part, Will, but they talk about they had a meal, and it was a meat meal, and then they monitor their erection during the night when they're sleeping.
Oh yeah, I get that sometimes.
Wow. You monitor other people's erection?
Just my own.
Okay. And basically it proved that when they had a plant-based meal, their erections were firmer and lasted longer during their sleeps. Do you know what I said to that? On Valentine's Day, I'm eating plants only.
Valentine's
and I'm
Day.
going to end it at that.
Well,
So,
you don't want to leave yourself short though, do you? You want to make sure you're eating them for a reason, pal.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, excellent. All right.
Anything else you want to add?
And on that bombshell,
I hope you guys enjoyed the masks. Really hot and uncomfortable.
indeed.
You can find Will on Instagram at
Will Hawkins Coaching.
and me at Ghazi.92. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button.
And ring the bell for notifications.
And also drop a comment.
You've been listening to The Big Drill.
Thank you guys and goodbye.
Till next time. Hi, I'm Will.
And I'm Ghazi.
And thanks for tuning in to The Big Drill. You can also find us on these platforms here. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find him on Insta.
Ghazi.92.
And me, Will Hawkins Coaching. The links are in the description. And until the next time we drill deep, goodbye.
Bye.